Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of Deck Doctor, where we will be taking a deck that has been submitted to me by the community, and thank you to everyone again for submitting. And we're going to be fixing it up to be the most competitive version of itself that it can be, while trying to keep the core ideas and making whatever changes that I deem sensible as the licensed practitioner. Today we have a deck from a Discord user and Netrunner player, Millie Lily, who very kindly submitted their Thunderbolt deck called Business End of Ice. Business End of Ice is built around the combo between Thunderbolt being a weird, kind of scary identity. Thunderbolt armaments: whenever you res a piece of AP or Destroyer ice, that's ice that usually has nasty subroutines, that ice gets an extra strength and gains a subroutine that says end the run unless the runner trashes one of their installed cards after its other subroutines. So every ice, when you res it, or every AP or Destroyer ice, when you res it, is bigger and has more subroutines, which usually just means it's more expensive to get through. Rarely do you actually expect this subroutine to fire, or for the other subroutines of the ice to actually fire, because you're playing Thunderbolt, you're kind of signaling, I have a bunch of scary ice, so install your icebreakers and then run. But costing the runner money is good. This does require you to res things a lot, which is expensive to do, so it's often played with synergies that de-res and re-res cheap pieces of ice that don't cost you much money over and over again. And the idea behind the deck is a combination of Thunderbolt and a card called Ganked, which you might not have seen very much. Ganked is an upgrade, it's an ambush, and it works from R&D and HQ, so you don't even need to install this for it to do its thing. When the runner accesses this upgrade, you may trash it to choose a resed piece of ice protecting the server the runner encounters that ice. So that works for the entire run, the Thunderbolt ability. So they go through this expensive piece of ice, they hit your Ganked, they go back to the expensive piece of ice, and they have to either break it again or they just suffer the consequences, which should be pretty severe. Pretty sweet, right? Now Thunderbolt has not worked very well for just about anyone. Thunderbolt is awkward. It is a ID that A, forces you to play ice that you might not otherwise want to play, and B, doesn't push you forward in the way that HB decks kind of need to do, I feel. Right now, what our HB decks are lacking is like win conditions, like obvious ways that they can turn their board states into wins, and Thunderbolt helps. The ID text helps with that 0%. It doesn't give you a way to win. It doesn't generate clicks or get you your better cards back like PD does. It doesn't improve your board state like Poetry might. It doesn't create unbreakable situations like Leo can. It just kind of makes things a bit better here and there. But maybe that's okay. Maybe you just need to make things better here and there. One card that notably synergizes with Thunderbolt is called Stegodon Mark IV. Each run, as long as this is so much text on a card, debatably too much text on any one card. Each run, as long as a piece of ice has been de-res during that run, each installed icebreaker gets -2 strength. So that's a kind of like makes things even more expensive to break your ice, because that's kind of the same as your ice having +2 strength. So with Thunderbolt's ability being res, and if you de-res a piece of ice, it's kind of a 3 difference, which is a lot. And also, once per turn, when a run begins, you may de-res a piece of ice, not protecting the attacked server to gain a money. That is very weird text to keep track of, because it does not have to be the first run. And it has to be on a different server, so if they just slam one server, and a lot of good players will do that, you don't have any options to use that ability. And this is a 3-1 agenda, so you need to have played it and scored it out. Basically, first thing that you do so that you can use this weird de-res ability for the rest of the game. It's very strong once it gets scored, don't get me wrong. Getting scored can be a bit of a pain. But it's really interesting, and it kind of makes these de-res ideas work because it gives you a constant source of that resource, which is your de-reses, and makes your ice more scary, which I guess is the point of this. So to quickly read the write-up, looks like they've played this competitively before, but they've switched out the Mitra Amans for Charlottes. Charlottes being kind of a Jinteki, so they're spending influence on this as like a recurring econ option. I'm pretty skeptical in Charlotte lists where you actually need to do the advancement and you don't really get anything back from it. But, you know, maybe it's fine, because like spending a click and 1 to advance this Charlotte, which then gives you 4 credits and a card, is good, but it's not very exciting if you compare it to the other decks that are running Charlotte, which usually put it onto a Lacosta grid, so you don't need to spend that click and a credit every turn to upkeep it. Or you're playing BTL and you're getting a 2 credits extra incentive to be doing this. So we'll see whether the Charlotte engine works. Mitra Aman is a pretty sweet card in these decks because they increase the number of times you're resing things, and they're also just generally efficient. Fixes 2 issues, which was econ and card draw. Yeah. Again, this ID doesn't push you forward; it just holds the runner back a little bit. So you don't get any free card draw, you don't get any free econ. Rethink the agenda. So their suggested changes would be to rethink the agenda suite and the next activation commands. Next activation commands is a lockdown, so it's kind of like a current for a turn. And it just gives your ice extra strength, and they can't use things like boomerang, or they can't cheat around your ice. Main text being 2 extra strength. I think this card kind of sucks. Almost full stop. I'm not a believer in next activation command. Rarely is it played, and so often is it just like in people's hands, taking up one of their precious hand slots. But, you know, I could imagine definitely cutting this. It technically does what our deck is already doing, but it doesn't do it in a way that allows us to win. It just makes the number of strength higher, which is not actually that exciting. To make Charlotte a 3 of, include Architect Deployment Test as some stable econ, yeah. ADT, there was some big ice in this deck, so I could imagine thinking about ADT as an agenda option. The agendas they've included, Luminal, of course you've got Luminal, Send a Message as kind of the 5/3 that you have to include, because you're not going to be running core damage in this deck. Stegodon and some vulnerability audits being just more 3-pointers so that you can run a svelte agenda suite. If you're planning on scoring a Stegodon, and you probably are planning on scoring a Stegodon, makes sense to have a lot of 5/3s, because that way you can do 2 3-pointers and a 1-pointer, and you're pretty happy. That's a win. And there is no way to kill. So it is a matter of just scoring out. There is no possible way this deck could kill a good player. Bad players might die to it. Good players will just not. To help that, we've got Seamlesses. That's good. We have no fast advance options at all. We do have Vovo as kind of econ. We've got Tranquility, because we have a bunch of upgrades with all the ganks and the, I guess, assets. Kind of a load-bearing regolith, but we have Charlotte as well. Obviously Spin Doctors. And the Ice Suite is kind of where this gets interesting. Extra interesting. Ablative Barrier as a one-off seems like too low. I love this card. I sometimes don't play the card because it's actually really bad against some breakers, namely Kuapira, but this card is bastard. It's so good. The text on it is amazing. Threat 3 is not hard to get to in a deck like this. Kind of not hard to get to. You will get there by the time the game ends. It's the best on-res effect that you have, pretty much. It's amazing. There should probably be more ablative barriers than this. We're doing harmonics. Harmonic is an ICE package that's in, I believe, system gateway. Each harmonic has synergies with other effects, and they all happen when you res them, which works well with our on-res ability. That doesn't mean that they work well with Thunderbolt, because actually the only harmonic that is an AP or destroyer is the harmonic payoff ice, which is bloop. 3 bloops is a lot of bloops. The text on bloop reads, as an additional cost to res this ice, deres another piece of harmonic ice, meaning we already have to have one of our other harmonic ices resed and be able to afford to re-res it later, maybe. I don't think 3 bloops is ever correct, because especially if you're running wave, which is a harmonic that finds you a piece of ice. Because bloop, you just can't res it early if this is the thing that you're putting on HQ to duck a transfer. No, it's not. You're effectively not doing anything. So 3 bloops is almost certainly too many bloops, especially when you can tutor for the bloops with wave. General advice for deck building: you should put 3 ofs in your deck for all your good cards, unless you have a way to tutor for them, in which case you can rethink that heuristic. Hargens are in here. They probably shouldn't be. I'm not a believer in Hargen now that Dolls are gone. It is a destroyer, and it does get bigger, so it's definitely fine. Probably not optimal. I'll see how I feel about it. And then there's some things that you're playing because you want Thunderbolt to matter. So these cards are justifying Thunderbolt and ganked. Unsell is a generically okay Biroid that gets quite a bit better once it's at 5 strength, because Revolver no longer breaks it for 2. And it has 4 subroutines, and that's a lot of subroutines. You can't click through all those. And Tier is the big one where it's like, can anyone really break this at 8 strength with 4 subroutines? The answer is probably yes, but can they do it twice when they hit the ganked behind it? That's really the dream of the deck. We'll see whether it's a dream in our first play. I think Tier is probably staying, because Tier is actually kind of a win condition on its own-ish. There's also a thing called critical mass when it comes to card destruction, because you can ignore the last subroutine on Thunderbolt if you have something installed that you can trash. You know, oh, I installed the class act, I've got the draw off it, and I have another one in hand. Okay, trash my class act. Who cares? Oh, that, what's it called? Open market has a credit left on it? Okay, trash that. You usually have a target that you can just get rid of and not think too hard about it. You don't always have 2 things that you can get rid of and not think too much about it. You almost certainly don't have 3 things that you can get rid of without having lost value. So the first thing destruction, if we think of Thunderbolt as a power that destroys a thing, remember the runner gets to choose this trash, is not that good. The second one is much better. So we want our ice or our effects to be kind of threatening to destroy things. So Tier is probably going to stay. Okay, that's the general gist of the deck. I'm going to give it a try with a opponent from London who I know. And hopefully we'll get some excellent games up. I'm going to see if I can bring up chat this time, because I didn't get chat working last time. So I just hold caller. What do we have here? I used to be able to get chat up on OBS very easily, and it would just like appear. But that is sadly no longer the case. I need to like jump through a bunch of hoops to find it. Okay, I think I've got my chat here. Lovely. I will check with my test subject whether or not we are ready to go. Okay, let me remind myself of the list. Vulnerability. Okay, and we're not doing, the only trap is the upgrade, which is good. I think that's probably correct. I'm not looking forward to having to try and think about winning through means other than scoring agendas. Let me grab my copy and paste tool. One sec. I suppose I should take this off now. And we can do that. Now we're playing Corp. Okay, my test companion has joined me. Let me bring everything back up. I know you. There we are. I'll get better at that. Business end of ice. Let's see how this goes. Padma. Okay, I wonder if this will be similar to my big breaker Padma list. What do we have here? We've got ice and we've got hedge fund. And we have no threat, we have no long-term econ. But you know what? This is a pretty solid hand. I think if you have hedge fund, ice, you shouldn't ask for too much better. We want to be able to ice our R&D against Padma, obviously, with something that is genuinely taxing. So let's keep this. We say good luck, have fun. And we start the game. Oh, a regolith. Oh, baby. Do we be aggressive and hedge fund install? Or do I play slow, hedge fund, put the drafter on R&D and the Hagen in like protecting a U remote? I could even do it protecting HQ, but I don't think that's quite right. Let's play it a little bit slow. I doubt they're going to hit my HQ too hard. Maybe they'll burn at me, but that's probably okay. Hedge fund. I will protect my R&D. And I guess I could wave HQ and then just play Hagen and Regolith in the new remote next turn, and that's probably better. This can even fetch me my bloop so that I can go and find that. That will be useful. If they are on Lobosomu, which I suspect they will be, because they're playing Padma against me. I would consider never rezzing wave and just using it as kind of a preventative measure. But we'll see how that actuates. Let me make sure that this is not too loud for everyone. Hi Lucy, yes we have chat this time. I made it work. How's that? Some kind of professional streamer. We have the whole package. Well, that's everything good in the deck. Do we want to play our ganked? Where's the coolest place we can play our ganked? This doesn't really have text against this deck because there is no program that's not one of these things. So it might just be not ganked this turn and instead regular thing. Let's do that. Lucy, is the quality, like the video quality and the sound quality all okay? Actually, I gave it a quick test before the stream, but it's always hard to tell these things for me. I'm much looking forward to triple regolithing next turn, if I possibly can. And a cam down, hey? So we've got Daig and a cam. Next activation command is a completely dead card. Ganked is a completely dead card. These spin doctor draws are going to be very important. They did mention in the write-up they were a bit concerned. There's a hiss from a fan somewhere. Okay, I am a stickler for noise quality, so I'm going to see if I can noise gate that out. But I actually don't know how to do that in OBS. Because it's almost dead silent in the room that I'm in, so that is just an ambient hum from my mic, I must imagine. What have they got here? Fencer Fueno for Trashables, gaining credits. Okay, so they've bottomed themselves out with installing stuff. That's fine. What's it going to be? It's going to be money, play Stegodon and just say it's difficult for you to get through the Hagen. I think that's probably true. This LOB can break barriers, but to get through the Hagen is going to be A, expensive, and B, take their counter, and they will not run before they have a counter. So this is just kind of a risk-reward play, where if they steal it, it is pretty bad for me, but it will be quite expensive for them and set them back quite a bit, I must imagine. But if I score it, it makes their whole game very tedious and annoying. Now I get the privilege of raising Hagen. And if they use this Lobby counter, I will simply never raise a code gate for the whole game, and they will never be able to break Hagen again. This is kind of not a play you're allowed to make with Padma, because the charge ability requires... So Padma reads, first time each turn a run on R&D begins, you can add a power counter to a card that already has one. So they are going to let my Hagen fire. They can't, because if they break it with Lobby, it costs a power counter off Lobby, and they only get that power counter back when they break a code gate, which I can just choose not to res. They've trashed Orca, so they drew their Orca. So they've got the sparks, they drew the Orca, so they're going to need to harmony it back into the deck before they can spark it back out. That gives us me a lot of time, and it means that this drafter is not breakable for a long time. That's fantastic. No reason to dilly-dally. Let's advance, score out this beautiful Stegodon. That does give them the Lobby charge from the Daig, which is a bit of a shame. They get to draw 4 off Rituals, lovely. It's going to be a slow game for them if they can't break Drafter, because the main way they're going to be charging this, aside from Daig counters, is actually going to be running R&D. I'm never going to res Wave. Full stop. So there's no real reason for me to de-res this Hagen. Do I want to res Spin Doctor first? Not really. These are so bad that they should probably go back on top. I guess the ganked is fine on R&D because currently they can't run through Drafter, but... Okay, they're adding gank to the bottom, and they don't want the Regolith either, so they're putting the Regolith to the bottom. I can technically res Spin Doctor and shuffle them, but I don't consider those cards to be so far above parity that it's worth using the Spin Doctor pop in order to shuffle things just yet. I imagine that will be more useful later, especially if they're on catalog as their win condition. In which case they need to dedicate a click towards running this. Okay, that's a fantastic draw, because it means they can never touch my HQ again. Well, they can, but I'm just going to make sure that this lobby is as taxed out as I can possibly make it. I want to raise the Spin Doctor because I need cards. I'd like a threat to put in this remote server, so I'm going to keep drawing. Yeah, that does the job. Now we're not at threat 3, so this ablative is not super exciting to res, but we are... what was I saying? But it does cost a lobby counter, which slows them down a lot. So I guess we... Do we Tranquility and Ablative, or do I just draw again and then play Tranquility and just say that this Hagen is a pain for you to get through? Costs you 1, 2, 3... Maybe that's actually not that much. 3 in a counter versus 4 and 2 counters is a big difference. One nice thing about this matchup is that they do have to contest the remote server just because of how I'm playing, but they want to also be running R&D, which means they can't just choose one server to slam the entire game, because then my Stegodon has no text if only one server has Res dice on it. To have text, Stegodon needs a distribution of deresable things. Well, that gets through some of it. Choose something to deres. I don't want to deres my Hagen, which cost me 4 to reres it just for $1 now. I'm not going to take any response. If they want to use their fencer money to pop the Spin Doctor, that's fine. Spin Doctor in the bin is no biggie, because I can actually get it back with ablative, and it's one of the best targets to hit with ablative a lot of the time. They do choose to take the Spin Doctor. That's completely fine. I do intend on getting it back with ablative. And the shuffling was not actually important to me. I need my agendas. It's time to try and find a agenda to score. Something to deres, again, no, I don't want to do that. If I had a rhyme in this situation, I could be resing it and de-resing it every single run for money. Well, once per turn I could de-res it for money, but that's still drip. Unfortunately, rhyme kind of sucks, but it's, you know, it's an interesting piece of ice at the very least. Game Dragon's down now, so everything's getting broken much cheaper. Ghost Tongue is also going to provide them pretty much endless econ. This is another barrier. Let's draw. Send a message as a card. It's not installable because I can't actually use it. Server 1. I think I need... Do I need card draw or do I need money? They're annoyed because they chose to pinhole my Spin Doctor rather than getting the Tranquility with all their fencer money. 2 money is a lot, but I have this hedge fund here, so I'm actually going to draw a card. I need card draw. Install Echo or Res Hedge Fund. They haven't saved their Orca yet, so I'm not really too scared about this R&D run. I'm just going to Hedge Fund to make sure that I'm good to go for my send a message push next turn. Maybe I should wait until I have a Okay, I don't get the opportunity away. My hand is too full now. This is going to draw me a card. If they use both of their lobby counters on this run, that's fine. They can't really win if they do that. Yeah, you can see how bad the sender message is though. Like, I don't really want to res any of these with it. I guess I just save myself 3 credits and res drafter and say that the supplies factor is not good enough. If they run here, oh, I should have used. Maybe I'll leave Vovo unres. I don't need the money value from them, and having him be a threat might be useful, but that was technically wasteful. Okay. Obviously I would like to be able to play this bloop so I can res it with sender message, but I don't have kind of time like that, so we're just going to advance. Now they have counters for days, unfortunately. Is this next exclamation command actually useful? It costs them some money, but really not much. Do I care about the Stegodon? Not much. This bloop costs them 4 to get through. I don't need the Stegodon. I don't really believe they're going to run archives. It just seems unlikely to me. I think I'm going to miss this 2 money that I whiffed on Verva. Burner, hey? Do I want to derez a piece of ice? I absolutely do want to derez this ablative. Gets me a money. Do I want to res wave for a ice? I don't think I can keep down lobby counters very well anymore. So am I just pressuring econ? And saying that you can't afford to constantly be dealing with all my stuff. It will come in with 4 strength, which costs 1, 2, 3 to fully break. We get to grab an ice. None of these ice are especially taxing, except for maybe bloops. Tia is taxing, but it costs a lot of money. Bloop costs 4 to get through. That seems like a lot. Hagen's annoying to get through, but not that bad. It does cost counters. Echo costs some money. Maybe we grab Echo. Okay, they can just put the sender message on top and there's not much I can do about it, unfortunately. They hit 3 cards. They were not guaranteed to hit it, but they were pretty likely to hit it, and I don't have a way to interact. So they just get to grab it. This is going to make the offensive mad, but it's not big of a deal. Thunderbolt tech so far has not been very impressive. Do I want to res something for free? No, I don't. Because this ablative barrier on res text does not matter. Well, that's nice. Rather it would be. Let's grab 2 money from this. And we're going to play it as a bait. We're going to... We can't keep counters down anymore, but that's fine. We're going to stack barriers on server 1, I guess. And we're going to stack bloops on R&D. First click creative commission. Sure, buddy. Oh, we get the sound effects. I don't know if you guys can hear the good sound effects, but I love the sound effects. Now we get a beautiful ablative barrier res. Now they don't actually have any more clicks, so I can use this as I like. And it's going to be grabbing this regolith. Or maybe a Spocter. I like regolith more. Okay, they've broken that correctly. I'm going to res Spocter, and I think I will use them to get the... You should go back. I actually want to keep you in the bin because my next ablative is going to pull you. They can use all their offensive credits for these. They are kind of poor now though, so the strategy has worked somewhat. Okay, now to think. Can I use Regolith to 1-2 and then just pop something in here? Will that survive? How many overclocks have they used? They've only used 1 overclock, so we should expect more overclocks. I could put this in here, next activation command, and even I could put another like echo on there or something like that. Or a bloop. Bloop would be very expensive. Bloop would come in with 6, 7, 8 strength, which would take 4, 5, 6 money to get through. Can I afford all that? It's going to cost me 3 to install it, 3 to res it, I get one from using the Thunderbolt ability, so the Stegodon ability. So that's at 5 money. That's technically okay. Server 1. Oh, this doesn't quite work. Because if I use this and this, I don't have any chance to get any money. And that leaves me with only... No, I do get 1 money from the Stegodon. Oh, I don't have a freaking harmonic to D-Res with Bloop, but that's fine. I can just D-Res Echo, it's not going to cost them that much anyway. Okay, they've printed some money. This will cost them a lot of money. The extra bloop subroutine truly does nothing, but yeah. We can't res this and also still threaten a win, unfortunately. Jack's out, okay. Do we have it? Have we found the window? You can see the 1 credit that I got from deresing that drafter is actually going to allow us to seamless advance this out. The Basilar Synth Gland comes down. They're printing clicks. Oh my gosh, let's see how far it gets them. And there we go. We eke it over the finish line. How good is that? How good is that? How good is that? That was pretty good. That was pretty good. What do I do with my 5 clicks now? You can't take them with you to the end, unfortunately. Maybe next game. Okay, thank you to my opponent. I'm going to keep the same opponent for the entire episode this time. Changing opponents last time felt inconsistent because I need a kind of steady playing field to see whether the changes I'm making are any good. Okay, how did I feel? The agenda suite, the sender messages were truly abysmal. We need to do something about these. They were so bad. Obviously, the density is going to look a little bit weird when we swap them out because we might need to introduce some 2-pointers, but we can't do this. Man, we can't. There's a tier. We didn't draw the tier. I didn't want to draw the tier. Tier would be a disaster. But, you know, what did work? Echo didn't do anything. Echo was not taxing even to a lobby deck. That's fine. At least was nice for us to deres for our bloop. Bloop was fine. Lucy mentions ADT. ADT is the first thing I would consider yes. It is kind of like send a message, but you don't need to have the thing there. You can kind of find it. It will be just generically useful. Wave didn't impress me that much, but it never does. Finding an ice is cool, but I don't think there's like a single obvious ice that you absolutely need. Drafter didn't bother me. Good. Regoliths, important. There is the thought. Okay, let's go into editing mode now. We're in the operation in the ER. Here we are. I've got the copy of it made here. One thing you should do, and don't hesitate to do this when you're trying to make your decks work, is to find if anyone else had a similar idea and how they made it work. Apparently someone in the UK got 12th with a Thunderbolt deck that's pretty similar to this. They're running 2 bloops, they're running a Sorokapin Blade. Don't do this. They're running Mitra Amans. I actually think this card's probably pretty good and would have worked in that game, and I could imagine working it in future games. The 3 Ablatives I think makes a lot of sense. I do intend on putting 3 Ablatives in here. They're running none of the Sams, they're running Stegodon still. Also, they are running the Sams, they're running Ingatans, so this must be before the unban, and they're running Off-World Officers for tempo. I like the vulnerability audits. I think this is how HB can actually win games. So I actually prefer the Vons, I think. They got the Tranks. Trank is good. They do have Vovo. Vovo was fine. Full stop. I don't think he was impressive. He was just fine. They're running a Boomy. I don't like Boomy. Fly Swatters make a lot of sense. Fly Swatter's a really good card. We might find that our deck salts are too tight. They're also doing ganked. And their asset suite is very small. Kind of similar. Regoliths, Spin Doctors. Call it a day. We have Charlotte. We didn't draw Charlotte. Did I want to draw Charlotte? I don't think I did. I think if I drew a Charlotte, it would have just been Pinhold. You got to think about Pinhole. Every deck you build, you have to think about Pinhole Threading. Pinhole Threading reads... Everyone knows what Pinhole Threading does. Pinhole. Run a server, if successful, change it and get into the root of another server. Anything that's... Any assets you expect to be face up and important over time are going to get pinholed. Every deck runs 2 or 3. So if you have like 2 assets in your deck that are going to be face up for a long time and are essential to your game plan, those are just going to be the pinhole targets. The way that you can play around this is either by having no good pinhole targets, or having too many good pinhole targets to be pinholed. If you're able to produce a new threat every turn, pinhole threading, suddenly, you know, you can only run 3 on the deck. They use all 3. That's usually what you have to deal with. Running this makes me think that these guys are just going to get pinholed, and we don't get any reconciliation for that. Obviously, there are other things that they can pinhole. They could pinhole these. But that's why I'm a little bit scared. Also, I don't think Charlotte's that efficient if you don't have any synergy at all with advancing. It's okay. But we do have a card in faction called Working Prototype. It's kind of like a better Regolith in this deck. And it can pressure their installed cards, which is something that our deck is already doing. It may require too much faff to make this work, but this card is kind of cracked. And I'm curious as to whether we can slot this in. So let me cut some cards I didn't like. Not from this one. Go away. From this one. I believe they requested the Harmonics package stay. Let me check exactly what they requested. What do we got here? Okay. Can I keep the Harmonics package and have this feel good? Because like you saw it there, Thunderbolt's text didn't matter. They have requested that it stays Thunderbolt, and I'm fine with that. Is this too many waves? Can we do anything else? Do we need these echoes for this package to work? It's just so not good. You know what is good? Weirdly, and I don't always recommend this card, but in Thunderbolt, Tithe is a crazy card. This is a 1-cost ice that has 3 subroutines. and 2 strength when you res it. It's not that scary, but I love Tithe in Thunderbolt. So let me review cards. Boomy, I don't think Boomy makes much sense here. It does have res text, we can de-res it. It's got the extra thing, it's 4 strength, maybe 3 subroutines. I don't know. Maybe it's fine. 3 bloops is too many, we're doing 1 bloop. Unsell may be too expensive, but I'll leave that for now. Just to think about it, we need tier. Is this a drafted deck? It probably is a drafted deck. Every deck is a drafted deck, but we're doing too many. We may be doing too many sentries. And they're not going to run without a killer. Usually, drafted is so broken because if they run without a killer, you kind of instantly win the game. And you can get away with that because it's often the only sentry in your deck. So you can expect people to run and just cross their fingers that you don't have a killer. If you're playing a deck that says you should install your killer before you run, Drafter is just never going to fire, and then it's only okay. So we're going to get rid of Drafter for this deck. Don't try this at home. This is a unique situation where you're not running Drafter in your HB deck. We're doing 3 Ablators. Ablator is broken. I don't want Echo in my damn deck. We're going to put some Tides in. It's cheap, it's efficient, it's okay. I don't want 3 of them, but I'm going to put 3 of them in to see whether I like them. We're cutting Nexts. We don't have deck slots for that. We're cutting Greasing the Palms. We don't need that money. We're cutting Charlottes. I don't think that works. Tranquility, 3. I like. Vervo, 1. If we really like him, we can get him back. He moves, right? Yeah, he moves at end of turn. If we like Vervo, we can get him back. Sam's. 1. Vulnerability, 1. Architect deployment test. Technically, you have to res the ice ahead of time. Maybe that's awkward. Maybe it is just... maybe it's just money. Let's have a look at what agendas we have access to. Aggressive 10 setting sucks. ADT consider Elivigar by Purification will have targets, but we already have ways to de-res that might be better. And this just requires too many deck slots. We're just going to end up with handfuls of Elivigars. We don't have any way to cash in on that juice. Lightning Laboratory. I hate reading this card. It works for our deck, but we're not going to play it because it sucks, right? Let's see. When you score the agenda, place a counter on it. When a run begins, you can remove a counter to res 2 of them for free. Ignoring all costs also ignores Bloop's cost, by the way. When it ends, de-res 2 pieces of ice. You get 1 counter on it. You can use it 1 time. That seems so bad, but it's kind of funny. We're trying to do competitive stuff here, not funny stuff. It is when the run ends, so this does work on the ganked turn. It does work on the ganked turn. But also they can just jack out. That's the issue with this. It's just like, okay, well, I had a click left. I leave. Bye. This should read like the runner cannot jack out. It's got 1 counter. Make it better. Whatever. Mega Prees are a way to score things. Also, I'm going to go to 3 vulnerabilities, by the way. One Olivigar, 1 ADT. Okay, we're doing no sender messages so that this can look a bit better, actually. We're doing 3 ADTs. Oh, this is asking so much from our seamless launches. This is asking so much from our seamless launches. We've only got 3 of them in the damn deck. How are we going to score so many things? Like, never advance so many things. It seems like too many. How do we make this work? Maybe... Is Mega Pre-Qualifier underplayed? Just thinking here. We can't run this many 3-1s in the deck. Stegodon's already ruining our agenda densities. So we need to consolidate as much as we can. Okay, we'll leave it as Architect deployment tests. We'll leave it as vulnerabilities. This agenda suite is decent. I don't like Midnight 3 because we're not running the Your Digital Life. Ingatan might be fine. I feel like if Ingatan is in the deck cannot be great. Is that crazy to say? Because the capped power level of the deck is pretty low. But I'm going to play one with the ADTs, and I think our seamless launch is going to be too in demand, and we're not going to be able to score all of these never advanceable things. Unless we draw the Luminal, in which case, you know, the win is assured. Hagen, Echo, no echoes. How much influence we got left? 3 influence left. We need a win. And we can bring this guy back using ablatives. So this might be the best influence we ever spend. Because yes, there's only one of them. Yes, we need to draw him. But man, is he amazing. And he's a way to actually never advance things without having the constant flood of seamlesses. And one cool thing is that if we're ablativing him back, we can put him onto a central that we've already protected. Start a turn, he moves right back where he belongs. Life is good. Okay? In the last deck that I built, I put in Cult for Hospitality to pull back seamless launches when needed. I don't think that works as well for this deck. But it probably still works fine. What else are we doing? We have these tides now. That makes me kind of want to add working prototype. Because putting a working prototype behind a tithe and just having that be like a cheap and efficient way to make some money is not bad to do. We could add an extra card here. Is Wave and Bloop just enough on its own as our entire package? Yes. What's our ganked targets now? Who cares? Who gives a damn? It's Unsell or Tier or Bloop. You. This gets big. If we're putting this in, it's more sentries, dude. I don't want sentries. Are there any non-sentry AP or destroyers? How do I have a look at what ice I actually have access to? You are a non-sentry AP or destroyer. You are a non-sentry AP or destroyer. But you suck. Scatterfield is so good, and I like it more than Wave, but we need to do Wave to justify bloops. Sentry Destroyer. Are we just saying like install Revolver and nothing that we have costs you any money? Is that really what we're doing? Is there any Wayland stuff that I should be thinking about? Sentry Destroyer. You're a code gate? God, you get freaking huge. You're AP code gate. You're, what are you, 3 influence? Ugh. With no SAMs, I don't know that tier is ever resible. You can get rid of the harmonics. Is a tier ever resible? I think tier is resible with just money. When it matters. It's nice to have as a threat at the very least. Okay, harmonics just have to go. I don't want to have to think about them. Bloop is good though. We're going to do one more with the harmonics. We're keeping waves. But we're doing 2 waves. We'll do 3 waves. Why are you 3 influence, huh? This is too much. You're a big code gate. You're a big old code gate that is extremely large and taxing and requires so much from everyone. But you're also 3 influence, and I don't know that we're throwing around 3 influence here. I want to try the Hollow Man route, which means we need a good remote server, a robust remote server. How do we make our remote server robust? We put a Valentau on it. Expensive. We do have econ. God, Valentau is big. You know what? The extra card is going to be Managum. Managum is that guy. You just put him in your deck and you'll be happy. Okay, how's this? We got ADTs. We've got Luminal, we've got these. We're keeping things simple. This is a bit distributed weirdly, but is maybe fine. The bloop being a 1-of is fine because we're fetching it with wave anyway. Ablative is our D-res target, that's good. Tithe is just extremely cheap and efficient for our early game econ. And we're going to try this and see how it goes. 49 cards, perfect influence count. Yes, Lucy says, how do we make the remote robust? The answer is always skunkwork. I couldn't agree more. I've spoken in the last episode about how good I think skunkwork is. And I think it's very good, so we're going to try it. JNet format, grab you. And we're going to try this out and see if I've... What's the Latin phrase? Do no harm? Something. I don't know. Just pretend I'm sophisticated and I can make these kind of jokes. Let me check with my test dummy whether we are ready to go. Where are you? Just setting up the game now. Cool, it's up. Yeah, I mean, we won a game. I feel like it's bad storyline to win your first game, because now if I lose the second game, you know, everyone's going to think I'm a hack and a fraud. This has no ice in it, which doesn't seem great for us. This is just a mulligan. And against a Muesli Hut. Okay, pretty happy with this. Definitely we got to put the end around on HQ. Does the Tithe belong on HQ, or does the Ablative belong on HQ? I think it's more likely they'll face check their remote server, but we also, and actually Tithe is more taxing to rerun multiple times. I suspect they're probably going to run, oh, what will they run? What does Music Hat run more, HQ or remote? Let's say this lives on HQ, this lives on the remote, and then you live there. Happy about the start. I think in this draw, the working prototype might be better. They immediately show me the transfer of work they're about to play. Let's see if they rip it. Awesome, they install a zero cost card to play around Thunderbolt armaments. Well, this is bad. This is a good start. Let's see, so if I raise this, they actually can't afford to break it. They bounce, they get $6 added to their pool. They run back, spending 2 to break ablative, and then they can grab the cup. If I don't raise, they can't trash it. They get 7 money, they go to 8. Then when they run back, they can either cup it or they can run back and cost 1. So I think I do raise this. Do I raise working prototype first? No. It cost me a money, and I suspect they're going to run back. Seamless on ability means maybe something can happen. Last click is buyer bands. Okay. This is kind of expensive for them to do. Seeing these very cheap installables is a bit scary though in a deck that might need to destroy some of them. I think I just need to take money from Regolith. This is not especially efficient, especially given that they have Cup and a Barrier Breaker, but, you know, we can still pressure their money a bit. They do not get their Muesli Hut draws, nice. Jailbreak on R&D. This is to get the Marjana run, and just because it's Muesli Hut, touch cards. Unfortunately, we have no defensive options in our deck, aside from Ganked, which is not going to matter just yet. I'm looking forward to getting this Hagen installed though. This is going to be pretty expensive actually. They're running back, so they saw 2 unseens and then they just used clean getaway to gain 3. Sure, that's fine. They are going to run this server, yeah. Okay. Are they going to cut this? Yeah, they are. So just save money. All right. Let's see how this fares. They missed their draw again. Did they even draw from last turn? I don't think they did. Look how efficient this is. Gains me money, does the damage. They might have to trash their Marjana or their cup. So they lose the Simul chip from their hand. This pays for itself. They lose their cups, they can't even sweep. It's a dream. It's a dream come true. Now we are going to be broke. We may never financially recover from this. Curious as to whether he's going to run this again, which is going to be need to make a run on R&D and then spend 4, 5, 6 to get in. That's a considerable amount of money. If he does, I'll just play the Regolith and do it that way. He's going to pinhole and maybe see now that it will be worth doing. Okay, this is an interesting play. Does have to fully break, so it cost him 7 now. Where's punitive when you need it, hey? Ablative is now online for installing purposes. That's fantastic. It's going to be R&D, server 1. Do I just gain a credit? Gaining credit is awkward because if you reps transfer, it's annoying, but I doubt that's happening. Wave on archives. He grabs a pinhole footing. That means the Wave on Archives might be paying some dividends pretty soon. I'll pinholing through HQ, that's fine. Takes another damage, gives me another $1. Does get to use the beautiful Chaser money for those Regoliths. I do feel okay running close to the ground with money here, though. Yeah, been happy with this tithe so far. Oh, having to spend 2 to bypass it is ugly. Declines to make a run because it was R&D and they didn't want me to get the ablative res. Or the res of something even scarier. This should be fine. 1 in 3 they hit an agenda and it's a complete disaster, but that's perfectly okay. Do I want money or do I want to push this architects? I think I want to do both. How do I do-res this? Okay, different lines here. I could play the architects, so I could play the working prototype in a new server, res the tranquility, click it, and then play the architect on the tranquility. That asks him, are you going to trash this beautiful architect? So are you going to trash this new remote and also get the architect? Seems unlikely. It's the most aggressive play. He does have a tag, nothing I can really do with that. He does have a way to get in. It does give him a server that he can run, so maybe it's safer just to res the tranquility. If I'm not playing, well, am I just going to get transferred again? He probably doesn't have transfer in hand, otherwise he would have done it last turn. So I don't need to, I can kind of assume that you won't run HQ too much. Do I just need money? I don't think I need that much money. Let's do the most aggressive possible play. And hope to score out this ADT. Fuck, this is in the wrong order. So this is doing multiple things at once. Which is asking a lot of his clicks and also asking a lot of his credits. Okay, glad I got that out of hand. Boomy is here. Boomy can trash this, funnily enough. What are our thoughts on putting a tier on the remote server? That sounds... I mean, Spin Doctor gets me 2 credits. Other options tier on R&D. I gotta see. There's no agendas at the top. So we're just gonna do this. See, the one-off tier is so good in the deck because you just find it with ADT. You don't send a message it, you just get it. That seems pretty good. This wave, I'm not excited about rezzing. Even though it gets a bloop, I just wouldn't res it if he were on art cards right now. I don't want him to shuffle the deck for the first thing. Well, that's fine, just making sure to use the Chesvick credits because it's value. Okay, there's the revolver. Let's play. Let's draw a card. Let's play a Spin Doctor in server 1 to gain 2 money. And let's play a Boomy on R&D. Just to make sure I can get rid of this Viscera if I want to. No reason to res and speed things up. The cards underneath this. The second Spin Doctor we've drawn, then we've got Hagen, then Ablative. So there's no actual thing on top of R&D to worry about. I will just happily spin back in a Seamless and a regular or a working prototype just to clear up this spot so I can play it this next Spin Doctor and get a new Tranquility proc next turn. Boomerang on the Hagen. Okay. Maybe he thinks this is an important thing to run. Use your Spin Doctors as baits, guys. It's so good. This deck is feeling a bit confused. I think Wave Bloop just needs to go and we need to have a more useful package. Okay, that's 3 revolver counters gone. And a lot of money. Do I want to remove this? I don't really feel the need to. I doubt he'll trash it, and if he does, him spending 2 credits is far better than any extra parity I get from increasing the average quality of cards in 29 card deck. Am I going to pop it, however, before I draw? I mean, technically I should have done it before if I was going to. I don't know what I'm drawing here. But I would not mind if it was a regular Thor working prototype, so let's do these 2. ADT is fantastic. Let's say you and server 1 credit, or I could draw first. No, I've got to advance it because I don't have a Seamless. Vuln in server 1. Seems impossible for him to get in again, right? It costs him 4 to get through here, a lot more to get through here. I would like to score 3 points. I don't care if he scores 3 points as much. The Architects could find something really useful defensive. Let's do... I think I have to score Vulnerability to win easily. I guess there's probably overclocks in the deck, so I should have thought about. That's awkward. If he has two of these, it's kind of a disaster. I could res this ablative, but it doesn't like fetch a working prototype or something. But no, I'm just going to spend all my money next turn with this vulnerability. I don't have any upgrades around, otherwise I would just chuck it on the trank and make my money back. So we're just going to have to wait on this res. Oh, the seamless is so good. Now, I'm not going to use it, but it means I can never advance next turn the architects and solve all my issues. Oh ho ho. Okay, it's coming together. This deck is coming together. Now they could just win here. Gank doesn't do anything because I can't afford to res this ice. But I have the winning points in hand, so unless they can take this... Oh, it's a lily pad deck. I guess that makes sense with all the cheap installables. Okay. Let's see whether I lose a 1 in 5. Nope, it's always seamless launch. Okay, so it turns out if you draw your seamless launches exactly when you need to, the game is not so hard. Now, I doubt they suspect this to be an agenda, and even if they do, it costs them so many resources to get into it. An overclock would make it manageable. Get some money here. Oh, yeah, okay, maybe they can do it. They're going for it. Well, I don't have any tricks. They're certainly not going to be able to trash my stuff, but my tranquility, but they will be able to boomerang through the Hagen, saves them a lot of money. Nice, they made it. And they got 4 credits left. It's kind of more than I thought they would have. Let's draw ganked hedge fund is probably good. And now it's just a matter of trying to find another 2-pointer, either another architects. Basically any of my agendas aside from the 1-pointer. I could play the 1-pointer. It makes it gives me options. Means I can deres the tithe. You know, it's very expensive to score out, but if it baits a run, it's great. And if it I wonder if there's a I install I advance it line to force the run. I mean, if he knows my agenda suite, he'll know that that is silly to do because he knows I have a seamless launch, but it's worth thinking about. Okay, using that on the boomy. I think I do res it. Because there's the extra subroutine, destroys the Physarum. I guess destroying the Physarum is not that good, but I don't need the money for anything else. And you can use the select a program to trash. I will trash your Marjana. They tanked that whole thing. They could have used the revolver to break at least one of them using the Chesva. I guess they want to save that. Alright. Nothing here. Let's make RNG more secure. They're completely bankrupt now. Feels good. They're just going to see if they can tank this and give me money. I'm happy with that. This doesn't do anything because I would certainly have jammed a good agenda if I had a good agenda earlier, but that's fine. Is it worth my money and time to actually advance out this? Probably yes. Doesn't cost quite as much as it looks like because it can somewhat pay for itself. This is the worst time to be advancing out your Stegodons, but you know, it actually still does matter. They do need to break ice to win, and that breaking ice is going to be pretty expensive. Obviously it's just going to be central shots from the rest of the game, and they may... Okay, so they found transfer. Let's de-res this ablative to make them spend money. Does it do anything? It gains me $1, which is nice. I can't duck in any way. It means that they need to spend money to get their revolver up to strength, but they probably don't want to break this anyway. Whatever, I want the $1, and the D-res is actually good. This does put them back into it financially, but maybe not enough to actually do anything. Oh, he is going to actually throw the revolver at it. Doesn't want to take the net damage. That's fine. Ah, they found my spin. That's annoying. Ganked is not feeling great right now, I will say. Maybe Ganked belonged on R&D. But that doesn't make much sense. Tia is like the scary threat, right? Okay, Carmen's come down. We've got a long-term sentry solution that costs 4 5, 6, 7 to fully break through. It's expensive, but manageable. It's an interesting muesli hat list. I like it. It's fun. How are we going to do this? I could res Hagen to trash a Chesva, or I could res Ablative Barrier to put a Regolith into this server. I want to do the second one of those. I don't think I care that much about Chesva. I guess this gives them more money. This might have been a mistake. Uses a click for one of them. It's a lot of money from Bravado though. Let's chuck you on R&D. It's just the waiting game to find a good agenda to jam and be in a situation where that actually the remote is robust enough to stick, which is where Skunkworks would help a lot. Even just the one. I did have the opportunity, agenda waiting room. I did have the opportunity earlier, Lucy mentioned, to seamless out the Stegodon, which would put me one click ahead right now, which would actually be nice, and I should have done that. It was the right play. Prognostic is coming down. With only 7 cards left in the stack, it's very hard for me to imagine that this is going to pay itself off. Do I want to de-res another card in order to make things a lot more expensive for them? I absolutely do want to de-res this Ablative Barrier. Are they really going to spend 4? I guess they're spending Ches for money, so it doesn't really matter too much. Oh, they find the Rising Tide. So much strength. Let's... I have so much money, I just need more stuff to do. Let's, I could jam. I think he can get 1 off R&D if he really wants it. I could jam this Spin Doctor so I can see 3 cards to try and find the agenda next turn. But I don't want the agenda in my hand. So we're doing the big U. The big, I need to draw an agenda and put it in my remote server U. This also might look like a agenda to him. My spin dogs have been very much looking like agendas this game. I like it. If I really want to draw, as he runs into an ablative, I can use this Spin Doctor to trash this Spin Doctor, moving it to the bin, res the ablative, pull the Spin Doctor out, and draw 7 cards by next turn. Which might be overkill, but... Stego would be a good draw. Stego would be a sweet draw because it's only 1 point. The risk reward valuation of jamming it would be crazy because if they run it, they don't win, and they would need to find the other Stego for it to actually matter. So it basically doesn't move the needle for them at all. But it will cost them an enormous amount of resources and then the win on my end. So yes, that would be amazing. Is this deck better? It feels more classic. It feels robust. The Thunderbolt text is still not great, but it has mattered. It has done things. That sucks. That sucks, but I guess they're lining up to contest this potential agenda. We do just have to purge that somehow. Or there's this Boomy again. Do they actually care about going all the way through this? They're just going to be using Ches for money. I do want to res stuff though. And I don't think the de-res ability on this run matters as much. So let's de-res this. This should be pretty expensive. It's all Ches for money, but that's the game. That's how Neverna works. Everything is Ches for money. They're pouring out all their coffee. They used them all 6 Ches for money. And the one still ends before they pass an ice. Unless they want to trash a card, in which case they can keep going. Yeah, they trashed their prognostic. They could have just ended the run. They didn't have to trash their prognostic. Not that the prognostic does anything at this point, but this one does just end the run unless they trash a card. You can just choose to end the run instead. I guess you get an extra credit from passing the ice, so it was right if the prognostic didn't do anything. And you don't consider it useful to have around for a later date. Now they're doing the math. Asking about a card that was face up earlier. Okay, who are the overclocks? I was worried about these earlier. Fortunately, they weren't there earlier, but they're here now. I imagine there must be 3 in the deck if there's any in the deck, right? Maybe that's wrong. They got a pretty efficient suite of breakers, must be said. I will res this ablative to go and find. Okay, do I want to? Let's just play it simple. I don't want wave. Do I want a regolith? Do I want a working prototype? I gotta trash the Spin Doctor. Where's the Spin Doctor? Oh, there's the Stego. Do I want them to encounter the Hagen and pay a load to not have their Chesva or Physerum trashed, or do I want them to encounter the tier and have to use the Physerum again? If I make them meet the tier... Oh, it's not. It's only on approach, so they do actually see this tier. Let me read the text. The runner encounters that ice, and this is whenever you encounter. Okay, so they can skip it. That's fine. Millie, that's not quite the interaction. It's the other way around. This does work on encounter, and ganked is a forced encounter, but it's still a regular encounter as well. This Tithe is good. I gotta say, the Tithe include, it seems strange. It's been working great. 3 subroutines in this bad boy. Let's chuck some non-trashables back into the deck. Like, that's fully fine. Let's put you, and what's most taxing? Actually, Tithe is the most taxing thing. Chuck it onto R&D. Because I don't want a single off R&D to win. And we should be good to go. Very hard to imagine that there's enough overclocks in the world to... I guess they could probably, if they used all their coffees and all their stuff, make it in for a single of R&D. And if that single's a 2-3 pointer, they'll get there. I don't think there's much we could do about that. Cupping is not going to help you. I don't know. This is just to do one final HQ sweep. Okay, that's fine. And that's the game. Okay. Okay, that's the game. I think that did feel pretty strong. They did see 22 unique cards, which is a bad sign. That is actually enough cards that if these were good unique cards would win the game. Now, I think there was a tell that we didn't actually have any good agendas in hand because we weren't jamming them. But that's a lot of unique accesses, so we let a lot through there. We raised 18 cards. We Of these, how many will probably stay good on? I say Thunderbolt procs, not that many, but you know, that's something. We were able to run pretty low to the ground, spending 52 credits to their 135. Tells you a lot about how good coffee is, I think. It felt okay. It felt okay. I'm gonna go to the bathroom, and we'll be back very shortly for the final review, and in the third and final game. We'll be with you shortly. One sec. I am indeed back. Okay, reflecting. What are we thinking about this deck now? I would have loved that mana gum. The one mana gum makes a lot of sense still. I would have been okay with the Vovo. It's probably cuttable in retrospect. We didn't need it that game for money. The Tranquility was enough. Tithe was a champ. I love Tithe in in Thunderbolt decks. It is so cheap. It is so good. Working prototypes didn't actually impress me. They didn't impress me. They were kind of just worse than Regolith because I think this needs assets to really work, and we're not doing assets. That might have been a miscalculation on my part. So let's edit this and get back to fixing that. None of you, I think, make the cut. I actually liked the agenda suite a lot. It felt good that I only needed one seamless per thing that I drew. I never needed two of them. That was cool. The 3 ganks is a lot of ganks, but it's fine. I didn't find Hollow Man either, did I? The Boomy was good. The Bloop Wave just sucked. We're getting rid of all of them. We're getting rid of all of them. Now I need a Code Gate. Code Gate, we're going to put 2 Fly Swatters in. We're going to put 2 Fly Swatters in. We're going to put... We don't need Hollow Man. We don't have 5/3. No point. We're going to replace that with a Valen Chow. Can you imagine this with 8 strength? And the extra subroutine? Holy. And we were taxing people out. We were saying you can't afford to run these servers multiple times in the long game. This is just impossible for you. That's cool. And that's going to be our code gate gotcha. The Huggins were good. They were actually really taxing. I did like them. I wouldn't. 2 is probably the right number. Unsale, I didn't draw and didn't really want to draw, but it's kind of like a budget tier, and you could have both of them rezzed, so I'm okay with leaving that for now. You're on notice though. 3 tranquilities is a lot, but you need one every game to win, so it's fine. What else are we missing here? Do I need to be able to get the seamlesses back? Do I need to be able to use like a jam technology? Do I need better ice? Do I need another mana gum? I do have a little bit of slots to work with here. I do have slots. Did I feel like I had enough ice? Yes. Did the ice all matter? Yeah, it did. I think the ice all mattered. Even the ablators, once they were rezzed, are just like still threats because you can de-res them and get them back. What card do I need? What card is super annoying to get back over and over? Because I was just pulling regoliths back, and that actually doesn't feel like the best possible thing to be doing. There's a few, right? There's FUT. FUT is a must trash. It's a pain to see him every time. There's no way to get him, and I couldn't possibly afford the influence for more than one of them. Moonpool? No. Yeah, it's kind of just FUT is the only real defensive. God, a FUT would go so hard on this deck. The influence cost of it would be completely absurd. What other assets should I have a look at that are like scary if I keep getting them out? Auto campaign, no. Trieste, no. We're not doing bioids like that. No, we're not doing bioids like that. No. I mean, you know I love me a wage workers. This just doesn't make any sense in this deck. Humanoid? I don't think we have the operations. This card is just awkward to me. We don't have operations for it. Could we put operations in to then fit humanoid? I don't really want to do that. Cinco Cyclotron? No, I don't think so. Nico campaign is a lot of money. It kind of does what we need it to do. Yeah, okay, an eco campaign makes a lot of sense. It's only 2 to trash, so getting it back over and over again is not that good. But I like it. I think this is probably going to be better than the other one was by a fair bit. Other than that, happy with the agenda suite. Don't need to change that. Assets are looking good. Operations. I'm going to do what I did last time and put in 1 corporal hospitality and see if that isn't good enough to get the seamlesses back. I'm also going to go up to 2 mana gum skunkworks, and that's 49 cards. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, this is looking cool. V3, let's give it a try. It felt more solid that time. Let's see if this further adds consistency. Maybe the Hollow Man is just so good that I should play it anyway, but... Okay, setting up the game again. Here we are. Holy. Interesting start. Probably not keepable because does this play around transfer of wealth? Honestly, it kind of does. I'm for it. These are awesome cards. Obviously, 2 Tranquilities is a little bit redundant, but we can figure that out. Do I... Yeah, so it's hedge fund, put this on HQ. It's a very interesting start. We'll see how it goes. Okay, strong opening from my opponent. We've got an expensive game ahead of us, so I'm going to keep clicking for credits when I can, just to make sure that we stay on top of being able to afford to res this absurdly heavy stuff. That's bad. That's immediately a disaster. I mean, it will not get super far. So this is going to 8 strength, so this would need to boost 3 times. And spend 4 counters. It's a big econ hit to have to spend all that, and now we have a tier res. As long as he doesn't run some D-res or return to hand stuff, that probably means our HQ is pretty safe for quite a while. Valenchal Lucy does, I believe, get the text. It's a AP, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I hope I didn't make a mistake on that. Oh, never mind. It's illicit. It's not AP. Never mind. That's my bad. Yeah. So it shouldn't be. The Silent is so bad, but it's kind of so good. Maybe it should be, okay. Silent is it. Okay, yep. That sucks. Why are you running Fiserm and Sable? This is just rude. It's fine though. I mean, forget the chance. If this doesn't get trashed, it will simply be a purge and let my things take angle. I feel like this one card kind of ruins a lot of decks that would want to be like alternative. Like anything that is not top tier just instantly loses to this. So badly. Which is, you know, it's how the game works, that you can't play bad decks and expect it to do well with them. But oh my gosh, we actually get to keep the sneaker. Hey, that's something. It feels weird to purge while I'm holding a fly swatter in my hand. Maybe I just play the fly swatter in server 1 and draw some cards. I should not use my 3 clicks to purge. I'll see if I can get it with the fly swatter. Purging removes Fiserm and Tangler is why I'm thinking. Millie is saying that they considered anthills. Yeah, anthills are consideration. Good card, but this is kind of similar to anthill and doesn't require the influence cost. It's a lot of money on Nico. It's more than on anthill, which just takes 3 turns. And it gets you 1 card. I'm thinking hard about whether or not they're running HQ. If they have 1 Fiserm, they probably have more Fiserms. This looks like it could even be another Lily Pad list. Let's have a look. Oh, maybe not. With the nukers, there's probably too much influence. Maybe it's not true. But 2 influence here, 4, 6 we've already seen. Very happy about this. This was best case scenario for us. Because now the Fiserm is gone. And they are pinholing my Nika. That's sad. That's going to be pretty nice. Tithe is going to tax out revolver counters or be recurring pings. Love it. Leech is scary. Leech is a disaster. Certainly res Tithe. It just costs Chesva, so the extra strength doesn't matter, but the extra subroutine is either going to fire or take another revolver counter, so that's really nice. They're throwing the whole revolver at him. Okay. And they steal an agenda. Okay, that Stegodon would have been quite nice, but live and let live. Oh, fucking hell. Okay, sure, you're running with prize. Why not? Yeah, okay. I mean, who cares? Sure. Whatever. Oh, buddy. Okay, that's probably the game, but we'll keep playing. They do have no breakers now. So if I can find a threat. Okay, that's a threat. That will be a little bit annoying. That's bad. Architect save me. They lose the transfer of wealth to the meat damage, that's funny. True transfers in their bid now is good. They access my only trashable. Luminal on top. Then Stegodon. Then Vulnerability. Then Architects. Then Seamless Launch. You guys seeing this? Luminal, Stegodon, Vulnerability, Architects, Seamless Launch. Well, I can't install the Seamless Launch. I guess I have to install the Luminal with it. And that's probably just going back to hand, because I can't actually res it. I should concede, but I'll let it be played out. With Hermes, there's literally nothing I can do here. So yeah, I will never be able to build a board state or afford anything again. And they're just going to win. So we'll save the time there. Okay, was that deck better with the changes? No, I think I made it worse. I think the second iteration was much better. You can't win Velen Shao. I assume that this was AP or something like that, but it's not. That was wrong. This needs to be removed. Let's review. You go to 0. Shylendra. Actually, Shylendra's 3 influence, isn't it? So it's just never destined to be played in anything. I don't have 3 influence, do I? It's over. Oh, no, I do. Okay. You will have to do. You're not great, but you'll have to do. I like Nico campaign. It is obviously pinhole fodder, but maybe that's fine. How does pinhole work with ganks? You can make them encounter the ice protecting server of ganks, so that's cool. Spocter, Regolith I still like. This is looking neater, it's looking more workable. I think we need Vovo either. I like the tithes. The one Boomy makes some sense to me. The one Ansel is probably fine. God, Revolve is just so efficient and it kind of just eats us for lunch. That game was kind of bad. I wonder if we can do one more with this version. What's the cup for hospitality for? It's just enough card draw. Yeah, we need card draw. Okay, we're going to take this. Zervo might be the next thing to swap. Rare 4th game. Well, there's only 2 episodes, so I get to decide what's rare and what's not. My test dummy is ready for a new game. I will do that. 4th game as a treat, because I'm enjoying this deck and I want to prove that this version is decent. And also I feel embarrassed for including Velen Shao in a deck that doesn't support him at all. Okay, where are you? Okay. Sable again, presumably same matchup. This hand is cool. Okay, and we get the Shylendra, which I like. I think I keep this. Okay, that's a bad draw. It's a really bad draw, but maybe it's fine. Hargan on HQ makes a lot of sense. Tithe and the new remote makes a lot of sense. Regolith and Server 1 makes a lot of sense. Go. Shylendra on R&D is going to be quite beautiful, I think. And I think Silent kind of represents what we're trying to do with this deck, which is make a deck that is on average kind of taxing. Now he thinks he can run over here and get the regolith. But watch this. I get the money back. And he bounces. Potent. That's potent. There you go. That's the justification for tithe right there. Have you ever seen a better tithe than that? Tell me. What did it trash? Give it to me. Another bravado. It's a good card to trash. Now, money is tight. But if they have to run through the tithe to trash this regolith, you know, that's also money, in a way. Boomeranging through the tithe. There you go. I would not boomerang through the tithe. I would strongly not advise not doing that. But you know, they can play how they like. Boomerang through tithe, if you think about the math on it, you're spending 2 and a card and a click in order to not lose a card and a credit. Just, it doesn't make any sense. Well, the 1 credit swing, I guess, but so it's a bit different. I would like another one of those regoliths, please. Okay, over here is here to answer the tithe issue. I think I like Resing Silenger here. Making them lose these 2 credits does matter a lot, I think. And it ends the run, which is pretty cool. Oh, that's a good draw. That is a seriously good draw. Okay. We've made it over the hump, I think, and we've immediately... Oh, they trashed a Kurapira to damage. That's useful for us as well, because it means that these ablators might be even more resilient than they were. And okay. So Thunderbolt text has prevented 2 runs from being successful so far. The tithe is not going to be cheap to use. Oh yeah. Let's just get it out of HQ, seeing as that's clearly where he wants to go. Oh, and just draw it, guys. Come on. I love this because it gets us to threat 3. So this, these 2 ablator barriers here and here are going to start making things very difficult for him with this regolith in the bin to keep my econ down. These Huggins have just been flatly good enough. Obviously it's worse now that dolls are gone, but... Hi Peter Cilio. All Jan come all here for it. Did the doctor already treat the patient? This is actually the fourth game in this episode. Usually I'm only going to do 3, but we had kind of a non-game where I drew 5 agendas in the first couple cards. This is the cured patient. So this is post-harmonics package. This is with a more aggressive agenda suite. And with some ties and silencers, kind of generically efficient ice in Thunderbolt that is maybe not like high rolly, but is taxing. Ooh, hello. And I'll tell you what, Thunderbolt has ended the run 3 times this game, I think. 2 times, 3 times, 2 times. 2 times this game. That's a lot. Ooh, okay, that's a bit too many agendas. You can live in server 1 to gain me 2 credits. And you can live on archives to fetch me more goodies. Where do you live? I don't need much money to score out the Stegodon. I need 3 credits to score out Stegodon. Do you belong over here to prevent Boomerang? I've seen 1 Boomerang. That would cost me 2. So that point is 6. It costs me 4 then to res both of them, and I can't. That would put me down to 2 credits if I had to res all that. You might live on HQ. Obviously Boomerang transfer would be really bad now. Maybe it's just worth doing it just to play around Boomerang transfer. Are we seeing it? There it is. Yeah, okay, I should play around this. What'd you get? ADT, 2 points for you, my friend. Oh, Corporal Hospitality could be really nice. Can I afford to do that now and just leave the Stegodon on the board? I think I can. Grab a Seamless back. Cool. Didn't find an upgrade for my server. Am I playing this unsell now, or am I just gaining a credit, or what? I think I play the unsell. Okay. And I kind of want them on HQ. Eventually I'll need more on the server 1, but we can figure that out later. Shibboleth's in the bin too? Twinning's in the bin? Ho, okay. How are we doing this? Seamless is definitely being played over here. Now I can advance, install a do I want to play Hedge Fund? No. Advance, score. Now do I install Luminal? Or do I install Vulnerability and just immediately threaten a win? Class Act means that it's so likely that they have something they can get through this shit now. But let's see if they can. Opportunity is not going to make the cut. It has to be Boomerang or their Breaker, their second Barrier Breaker. Fire Serum is not going to impress me much. I will de-res the ice because it gains me a money. This does get them a click back, so the game isn't completely over. They could even steal enough agendas just to win. Do I feel happy about the 3-imp for Silendria? It was Hollow Man, and I think that's probably pretty cool too, but we're not running 5-3, so I decided Hollow Man wasn't good. Silendria, this game has been big and taxing. Just kind of exactly in line with what the deck wants to do. The subroutine's not great, so I don't feel happy about it. Hammer, it might just be a better choice. But they have not run my server. I have the beautiful Seamless that I pulled back with my Corporal Hospitality. I will simply score to 7 points and win the game. I will simply score to 7 points and win the game. Okay, fun. Fun deck. Can win. It's got speed now. It doesn't require everything to go your way. It just requires you to kind of find things when you need them. You're way less reliant on the Seamless launches that are in here. And you can get them back with the Corporate, which is cool. But you only need one per agenda now. Like per big agenda. ADTs felt good. Probably better than Lightning Laboratory. So don't try that, or you can try it. But I would say this patient is in surprisingly good shape. I think Thunderbolt Text in this deck weirdly batters more than in the big heavy ice decks. Ganked is fine. It's not a card I'm ever upset to see, and could probably win you games. The Tranquilities are so important. Loved them. They kind of carried me. I don't know if this is the absolute optimal money suite, but the Regoliths are great. The Nikos were pretty good. I was never sad to see one. The ice you can skate by with surprisingly little money, and I would say this is my answer to the Thunderbolt question. I hope everyone enjoyed that episode. I hope people give this deck a try and let me know if you find any innovations that I missed. Totally possible. I suppose I can put the decks side by side now. Let me bring them up and so I can easily review what was changed in this journey. We're going to do you and you. Not you. You and you. Here we have it. We have a redone agenda suite that I think is a bit more svelte and actually led to very easy points for wins. We cut the Charlottes. I didn't think those were going to work. I didn't actually get the chance to try them properly, but that's too much click and money to go into your engine. Regolith we kept because Regolith is just amazing. Spectres kept. This didn't do enough. Hedgeruns kept. This didn't do enough. Seals Launchers kept. Ganked is the idea of the deck, and I think is perfectly cromulent. More Tranks, fewer Vovos. Possibly 0 Vovos is actually the right number. More Ablator is amazing. We did away with all of the harmonics. They just are not actually consistent enough. They don't actually work with the ID. In place, we just put generically powerful things in Thunderbolt, like Tithe, Cylindra. We kept the Hargans, actually like the Hargans a lot. Happy with those. Fly Swatters instead of Waves, makes sense to me. 3 bloops was always too many. Without the harmonics package, we just detethered ourselves from bloop. Like the Boomy, Drafter, I kind of gave a brief explanation as to why Drafter doesn't quite work for this deck, and the answer is you don't face check without a killer into Thunderbolt anyway. So the powerful thing that Drafter does, which is allow for your killers to be absurdly good in decks that are not stacking damage, and like they kind of make people want to run without their killers. Drafter doesn't work there, so cut Drafter. Tier stayed, and I think Tier's fine. Obviously, if your opponent's running Retribution, not Retribution, Replies, yeah, it's worse. But your opponents won't be running Replies at the top tables, which I'm assuming you will get to the top tables with this deck. Fantastic. Thank you to everyone who has submitted your ideas. Sorry to everyone who didn't see theirs today. I'll get to them. I'll get to most of them, I think. I really enjoyed the series, so we'll definitely be doing more of this whole thing. And yeah, thank you everyone. Good night, goodbye. Have a good weekend.